Good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your metal market update. And this update is for Friday, the 12th of January, 2024. Remember Martin Luther King Day, but you will be open in the metal market Sunday night until about noonish Monday. Then they'll close. They'll reopen at 5 East, that's Central Time, and away we go again. So be aware of what you've got. They were up sharply today. Obviously, the first attack by the United States and the United Kingdom on Yemen. And away it went, and the markets took off, silver market, gold market, and they held the gains fairly well. I mean, silver gave up 40 cents. It was up $1 an ounce. The gold market gave up $15 from its highs, but they were up well. The copper market's not up well because China still has a lot of problems. I wrote about it today in my reports. I showed where their contractions are happening. And on Monday, there's supposedly going to be some action by China to inject funds back into the system, maybe do some reserve ratio cuts from the banks. I don't know. They're talking a lot of different things. On the energy market, you would expect that they would get a bid, and they did, but they gave up a lion's share of it. You close near the lows of the day in WTI, not that far off the lows in the Brent. So any way you want to cut it, you had your bounce. But the market said, is it really going to be that bad? The issue is, and I think you know it, Yemen isn't going to be the issue for the coalition. The whole thing is, how bad does Iran want to get involved and lose some oil fields? You heard what I said, and lose some oil fields. They need that money to be mischievous. The one easy target they have, you can't hide it, you can't stop it, are those fields. They're best off being mischievous and leaving well enough be. That's what I'm expecting is going to be the case. The Houthis will attack. It could happen over the weekend. They threw out some missiles early today after they were attacked. But they're no match. It's just that simple. They're no match. And we should not, as Americans or the people of the UK, apologize for the strikes that we do. We're the ones being attacked. Volvo, Tesla had to cut back and stop. Tesla for 2 weeks outside of Berlin producing cars because you can't get the parts the supply chains are through. What does that have to do with Israel? I mean, I'm just being realistic here, okay? So this is where it's at. Their argument makes no sense in attacking every ship there because they can. Well, they can't, and that's what's going on. We're going into the political time. We're going to get all the caucuses in Iowa. Are you paying attention to the weather? I live in Chicago. So this morning I was up at 4. We had absolutely no snow in downtown Chicago. By 5, you couldn't see outside. O'Hare had to close down for 2 hours, in and out. That's how heavy the snow was. And then it went away. Now the cold weather's setting in. And if you haven't been in Midwest cold, let me tell you, you can't dress warm enough. It's just a brutal cold. And we're going below zero, and we'll be that way for a better part of a week in the evenings. So it's going to be very nasty, and during the day, you won't even see the freezing mark. You'll be in the single digits to low teens for quite a while now. So that's where you're at. That's why I was a little surprised heating oil set back. I understood the natural gas rally. It made all the sense. Cold weather that lasts a week, you go a few days with bids in the market normally. When we look at the gold market, we see how it's come up here. And, oh, by the way, it just dawned on me. Maybe I should do this before I get too far. I've got your attention. Remember, Tuesday, I'm going to be holding the live webinar. Now, if you didn't get an invite, you may not get it because I've mailed to my mailing system. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more, and that's it. But you can still attend. Move your cursor to the top up here. You'll see an icon. Give it a click. Fill out the form. You'll get registered. You'll get back an email from us. In that email will be the link, your user ID and password. I open it at 12:15 p.m. Central Time. I start at 12:30 p.m. Central Time, and I end 20 minutes later. I do not make a recording of it available to the public. I don't post it on the website or any of that. I want you at it. The questions, you can start asking questions now. It helps me set up all your charts. That really helps. And when you get your user ID and password, there's a link right there. Click on it, The email will create right to me automatically, tell me what you want to cover, and I'll do my best to cover it. Simple enough? I think so. So back to the gold market. Gold loves war. The negative for gold was today's PPI was anti-inflationary. The first real report that I'm buying into that said, inflation looks like it is coming down in that area, which is the producer prices, which will affect the PCE index. Ideally, academically, it should do so in 2 weeks when we get that report. And the Fed really looks at PCE, so you can imagine the traders went bonkers today. They were buying stock indices like mad. By the end of the day, most of that had disappeared in the market. The reason gold kept the bid so well is we're expecting more mischief out of the Red Sea area, and there's always the problem that Iran could get involved. I don't think they will. I think the message is loud and clear to them, stay away from this. As you take a look at what the market's doing, you're just staying over the 18-week average. I'll come back here just so you can see it. It's the weekly chart of closes. It sets your bias up. You're over it. You're friendly. This is what the chart action looks like. The pattern is one of higher lows, but lower highs. Do you see that part? That's not the friendliest chart you could have. You have to get a real acceleration out of this chart, in my opinion. Get up and close over 2098.20 to open the dollars number of 2,200 as a possible target. Till you do that, nice to get the rallies, but I don't know how much staying power you have with them. You have higher lows, lower highs. You're over the 18-day average, which is over the 100. That's over the 200. So we have had for a very long time, and we have been staying over the 18-week average. Everything's been bullish on the chart, and the market is responding accordingly. The resistance point's so easy to see. It's the upper Bollinger Band. Every time it gets there and tries to stay above it for any length, kaboom. That was the same thing that you were doing here. You only stay over that black line, the black dashed line, 5% of the time. Therefore, it's a natural spot if you're bullish to take some money off the table when you hit it. If you're bearish, it's the spot to grab some money there. It's not about, can I get the last dollar, the last dime out of the market? You're in a zone. And if you learn how to work with the momentum in the zone, you know to stay longer or shorter as you hit it. What do I mean by that? You might have multiple contracts. Do you take them all off? Do you take partial off? Do you buy again on the pullbacks? This determines that together. I have a course on the website, iraepstein.com, the Enhanced Bollinger Band course. You should take it if you want to learn that. It applies itself the same in spiders, ETFs, the stock market, the futures market. When I take a look at the gold-silver ratio, as long as you're staying like this, which one am I more favorable to? The higher the numbers, the more ounces of silver you got to bring in to get 1 ounce of gold. Obviously, gold's stronger. Silver market did fall into the major support. We talked about this for weeks when the market was back here, and it's testing it again. Last time it did this, it came back up. There is no pattern here that I like. You have a pattern of higher lows, but you also have lower highs. And you just keep going back to that 18-week average and staying there. It's a difficult pattern. In the copper market, twiddle your thumbs. This is not the place to be because of China. You're waiting to see what they do. The market is pulled back to the 200-week, the 18-week average, and just stopped. The trend is up. It's overbought, working off the overbought condition. If any number is over 70 and they're not going sideways above 80, the market's not ready to be what I call embedded or locked into the bull trend. In the platinum market, like the copper, we got up, and in this case, we got up to all the resistance. We got up to the Bollinger Band, the 200-week average in gray, the 100. That was the resistance point, and kaboom, right back down to the 18-week. Now, let's assume you get under this what is that number, 890? So if you get under that number, I'll just show you, does that turn the chart bullish, or bearish rather? The answer is no. You would take out the bullishness because you'd lose the higher lows, higher highs. but that's all. Right now, the bias is down since you closed under that number. The trend is up, and you've hit all your upside targets, and you're working off an overbought condition. And last in the dollar index, you've now turned the short-term trend up, higher lows, higher highs. However, the bias is down as you're under the 18-week average, and I think you're about to get a bearish crossover where the 18-week average gets under the 100. A lot of resistance up there. Doesn't mean you can't go there. What would bring up the dollar? Well, big-time war in the Mideast that the U.S. starts fighting. Everybody runs for the safe haven. So you saw the gold bid. You saw today the dollar at one point get a good bid. You were seeing bonds and notes at points getting it. That wore off as the day went on and people understood that it's highly unlikely Iran's going to get involved in this. If they do, as I said, say goodbye to some oil fields. That's where you hit them. You don't hit their population. You hit their pocketbook in a big way. They don't need that. How do you protect them? I don't care how many missiles you got. We can overwhelm that. So that's, and I'm not talking America, the whole coalition that comes in, because if war really starts, it's them against everybody. You'll say, well, China will step in and Russia. That sounds great for a movie with Brad Pitt. But the reality is the world's not ready to go to war over the Mideast. I really believe that. So we'll see what happens. These people always fight amongst themselves. Read the Bible. You get the idea. Watch the movies from historical times. You see it. Nothing has really changed. But we need to change it. If we can do all this technology, we got to find a way to make more peace. And I think that's important. So I hope to see you all come Tuesday. Remember that you've got the Martin Luther King holiday, so you've got abbreviated trading hours. I doubt that I'll do anything for Monday morning in the way of videos for both my subscriber or this, but if the war were to heat up something, I might change my mind. In the meantime, you have a great long weekend. I'll see everybody Tuesday.